In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a panorama in Lightroom. So if you've used a mobile phone camera, you've probably seen the panorama feature. Probably used it just to move your phone along in a circle and create this really wide view of the scene. It's really cool. You can do the same thing in Lightroom, but it gives you a little more editing power, so you can change things around to your liking. You start by taking the pictures, same way as you would with your phone, but you got to take the snapshot yourself. And when you do this, make sure that you keep everything in the scene. Now, you see this glacier here that I've got just sort of cut off at the very end. And when I go to my next photo, I've left a lot of room, left the entire thing in here, just to make very sure that nothing's going to get warped or cut off when I stitch the two photos together using the software. And so this is what allows me to make it a very smooth panorama with no really weird spots in between. You might still get some objects cut on this. In this scene, there's really no odd object in the middle that'll get caught on the seam lines, but sometimes that happens and you might just be stuck with it. But you get some editability here, so sometimes you'll be able to avoid that by using a different mode. Let me show you what I mean. Start the process by selecting all these, right-click, and go to Photo Merge. And I'll choose Panorama. And now I've got some options to choose from. There's three different types that Photoshop will do you: a spherical projection, a cylindrical projection, and a perspective projection. Now this one isn't going to work because my panorama is very wide and very distorted, but that's best for keeping lines intact if you're doing like architectural work. In this case, spherical or cylindrical will work a lot better. I don't see much difference between them, so I'm just going to leave it at spherical. Basically, just look back and forth and see which one you like better. Now, boundary warp is going to fill in these edges for me by stretching my image out. In some cases, you might not want to do this so much because it'll be stretching things that you'll notice, like a building will get really warped, or a person's feet will get really giant. But in my case, with cloudy skies and flat ground, I can warp my boundaries as much as I like, and so I'm going to do it all the way to 100. It brightens up the image as well, and so I will keep that because the initial creation of the image made it really dark for whatever reason with the auto settings. But from here, I'm going to look at auto crop. I don't need to do that because I don't have any uneven edges, but that will clean up your edges for you just by cutting off any odd bits that are on the outside. And auto settings will make some automatic selections from your basic developments panel. And click back and forth. Here's it off, here's it on. I like it better on, so I'm going to use that as my development starting point. Create stack. All that does is bring these images together in the viewer so that they don't spread out and take up so much room. Just kind of pushes them into one smaller compartment, and you can expand if you want. I don't need to do that since I've got this in its own little collection, so I'm just going to leave it off. And from there, I can merge my panorama. I've already done that, as you've seen. I've got my panorama here. One more thing that I want to point out before I end the video is that when I went to merge these, there's also an HDR panorama, and that'll do two things at once. I'm not going to show you that for now, but I just want to leave it as a reminder that with one of these techniques, you're not limited to just the one. You can practice any amount of techniques together that involve compositing. You just have to account for it. So for an HDR panorama, each one of these images could be 2 images or 3 images shot at different exposures. It just takes patience and time and a little bit of perseverance. Make sure that you got all your images together and everything in the right spot. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.